every payday. So money comes out of your pocket every payday. But
Now, let's stop right there for a second.
okay,
Minus the ones who played it many times. How many of you new people would jump all over that in a heartbeat?
how many people would take a free house and you would have to pay money out of your pocket
$100 a month.
every month?
Yeah. You guys stick both in. Okay.
Because one time I passed this up, this house would sell for $65,000 to $135,000. The person to my right who picked the next card had a 3-2 house. I didn't even pass a payday, and the cash never came out of my pocket, and I just sold the house immediately.
Here's a home buyer to buy that 3-2.
I love that card.
So,
It's fun.
you know, deals like that are, you find them in real life.
Yeah.
It's not possible. It's happened to me. Not quite like that. I went and looked at a rental here some time ago, and the gal thought she was actually cash flowing, and long story short, I went through the property and just some minor fix-up, and I said, what do you have it rented for? She told me, and I stopped for a second, just did some quick math in my head, and I said, you know, you're actually going in a hole every month? And she looked at me with that deer in the headlight look, and like, but I'm getting, I think it was like $750. I said, yeah, minus this. So that being said, you're actually going in the hole because you don't have a rented enough. I said, if I were to buy the house, I could only give you, and I can't remember the amount. You know, after a while, you look at so many, numbers start running together. They really do. But anyway, she said, oh no, I couldn't do that. I said, well, you know, just keep me in mind in the future. She called me up about 4 or 5 months later, because at that time she would have had to come to the table with about $12,000, $13,000 just to break even. That's how much of a hole she was. She called me up and she said, you know, if you're still interested in the house, I'd be willing to come to the table with $13,000 just to get rid of it. Close. You know, handed me a house. Happens. You know, I mean, the deal of the century happens every day somewhere.
That's true. But you gotta get out of bed and go get it.
Yeah, you know, just like those little birds you hear chirping in the morning. I love sitting out on my, I guess I'm getting old. I have to admit it. I like sitting out on my deck in the morning with a cup of coffee, watching the bird feeders and all the bird chirping and stuff. It's just bright and cheery, and I'm a morning person. Cool in the day, and my wife thinks I'm crazy, but you know, those birds have to go fly around and peck around and find the worms. Got a couple of pairs of robins nesting in the trees out there. They're up every morning. As soon as they get out of the nest, they start flying around. They're on the ground, you know, and they cock their head. Well, you know what they're doing? They're with their legs and their ears. There's that little vibration when the worms crawl through the dirt. That's what they're listening for. And they peck around, and pretty soon, man, they pull one out. You know, breakfast. The woodpeckers, you know, they'll hop up and down the trees, you know, pecking on the wood, you know, trying to make the bugs start crawling. And that's dinner. It's all out there for them. They just have to go hunt for it. So wait, man, there are houses everywhere. There's the deal of the century. Just, I mean, deals like in the game. You just have to go look for them. Chris and I were talking in the back earlier about this whole real estate investing thing is a numbers game. We were picking out numbers. And I told him that out of every 100 offers that I make, there's a possible 10, really good, viable possibilities. And out of that 10, I'll get 2 or 3. So for every 100 properties I look at and make an offer, I'm going to end up with 2 or 3. So how many offers you think I'm making every day, every week? First thing I do after I wake up and listen to birds, go down to my office, pull up the computer and see what it's sent me overnight. Get online. I've got several online accounts. see what they've got. See if I have any voicemails. Because at that time of day, I want to go look, I want to get some appointments set up, I want to go look at some stuff and make some offers. You know, let's talk about the game. Who had a good time? Okay, did it make sense? Sort of, kind of learning, you know? But this whole investor thing, you know, when I started in the business, it was like drinking from a fire hose. You know, I mean, talking with some of these people who had been investing for years and trying to get my mind wrapped around how you structure a deal and how do you make an offer for $80,000 when you don't have $80,000 sitting in the bank. Somebody has it. So, you know, and it's like you're a little bit thirsty and you open up the fire hose and but now I don't even think about it. You know? I go look at the deal and the weirder the better. Because it stimulates, it makes me think outside the box. How can I structure this deal? Okay, if it's not a deal for me, how can I set this thing up and pass it off to somebody so it's a deal for them and I'm the middle guy? You know? Any property that you can look at and structure, you need to get paid for it. Whether you're wholesaling it, whether you're doing a referral fee, whether it's you have to buy it, hold it, and sit on it for a while before you get time to get to it. I've done that. You know, buy a property, I'm too busy to get to it right now, but it's sitting there. So as soon as I get X, Y, and Z finished up, boom, it's right there. You know? Any way that you can figure out to legitimately, honestly, and morally set the deal up on it, that's what you've got to be thinking about 24/7. You got to go to sleep thinking real estate. You got to wake up thinking real estate. Now, I will tell you this. You need to have fun at it. I have one day a week that I just put everything aside. I don't answer phones. I don't look at my computer. I don't talk real estate. I don't do business. I just go dig in the dirt. That's therapeutic. I like digging in the dirt, like flowers. I just like today, I went and bought 30 bags of mulch and remulched all my flower pieces. The Thursdays, okay, except for Thursday nights, third Thursday nights. So, you know, now, any questions about the game? And I'll refer them to Michelle. Yes, speak up. Okay. Jolene knows a property that's up for short sale. Wow. Awesome. Yep, call Jolene. Okay?
Do you need a buyer for that? Short sale?
Okay. Any other questions about the game? You know, the whole purpose there of going around in that little circle, that's kind of significant of what people do in life, isn't it? Is you see in the middle there the little rat, and if you can picture that the little wheel there in the middle, and a rat running around, how they do, and they get in there and run, and they're not going anywhere, but man, that wheel is going 90 to nothing. Isn't that reminiscent of us in life? I mean, for the first 55 years, for me, that's what I was doing, bought into the idea that, like my dad, you get a good job, you stay there, hope for the best, you know? And fortunately for me, I woke up and realized that, hey, that's not going to support what I really want. And we started looking at what was out there and ended up in real estate. So, and the idea there is at some point, instead of running that wheel, when your passive income your expenses, then you can jump out of the rat race onto that outer
Fast track.
fast track. You start buying islands, you can buy all kinds of businesses. And you talk about cash flow, then that's when you start developing cash flow out there on the fast
It's
track.
interesting, the difference between the fast track and the rat race is the rat race, you never seem to have enough money, right? You're always thinking, how much money do I have? How much, I don't have enough money to do this deal. And the difference is on the fast track, you have too much money and you're not hitting this.
That's it. See it, then on it.
Yeah.
And that's real life, folks. That is absolutely real life. When,
You know, and I will share this, richdadradio.com, Robert and Kim, every Sunday at 10 a.m. on KNBZ, they have their 1-hour radio program. And it goes on their website, richdadradio.com, the following Wednesday.
Yeah.
Free to get on it. The one thing that they have talked about is they have so much money that they are just looking for deals and looking for deals and looking. They can't find enough deals for all the money they have coming in because they've hit that point where everything that comes in, they hardly have a savings anymore because they're just putting it all into more deals to bring in more cash flow.
it's interesting that you would bring up the word savings because those of us, and I'm speaking to the way I used to think, those of us that think the way to success is to have a large savings account is bogus, just to put it straight out. That's not the way to financial success. But that was the thinking of the prior generation. The way to financial freedom is passive income. You don't have to have a savings account to have a passive income. And to have a huge passive income. I guarantee you, Robert and Kim don't have a savings account. Because they've said so. They don't. In all of his books, he talks about you don't need a savings account. You need passive income. When you learn how to develop passive income, and part of this game, it really highlights the need for financial education. Now, I noticed that in previous games and listening to different comments at the tables tonight that a lot of what the questions, a lot of what was said is a result of your beliefs and wrong thinking. How would I put this? The thinking in the system way, like the school teaches us, you know, like so many people, like banks would like us to think. You know, I mean, can you imagine getting to a point where you go into the bank and talk with them, interview them, and see if they're worthy enough to handle your money? Usually it's the other way around, isn't it? We go in timid and, you know, thinking they've got all the marbles, you know. I mean, this is the day of the golden rule. He who has the gold makes the rule. But, you know, when you develop that passive income, you know, I've seen investors who started out with nothing and, you know, have reached a certain point of success. It changes their whole demeanor and their whole outlook because all of a sudden they realize that they don't have to cower anymore. They don't have to be subservient to the system, the way the educational system, the way the typical middle-class America thinks. You know, you'll notice on each of the boards there's a doodad set of cards. One of the things that Rich Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, says is that one of the reasons middle-class America is so broke is because when they get extra money, they don't invest it. They take it and buy a doodad. What's a doodad? It's another car, a boat, a big TV. You know, something that's not going to put. They get a bonus check. You know, and it's before they get home, it's burning a hole in their pocket. And they're going to Target or wherever, Sam's or Costco. What can we buy with it? You know, I was there. Heck, I was there. You know, for a lot of years. You know, I did. Anytime I got extra money, it's like, oh man, honey, we got this $1,000 bonus. What can we get? Sailing right over my head. Had I taken those bonuses and understood how to make money work for me, I'd be conducting this meeting from Hawaii tonight, at my condo, on the beach. So that's, I mean, if I could impart, I know, you know, I at some point I really get passionate about this thing because I've seen where I've come from and the success I've had and am having, and I know what can be developed. But you have to see the bigger picture and realize that, man, so much of what we've learned growing up, going to school, living in the middle class, average middle class, working world, we got to chuck it. We got to throw it out. And we have to be responsible for our own financial education and learning how to make that money work for us, so that you can start living your dreams. You know, for too many years, you know, I had all these dreams, but how do you get there? You know, spent too many years making somebody else rich. Made Fred Smith rich at 30. Founder of FedEx. So, anyway, that was kind of heavy, kind of intense, but, you know, if you're not passionate, and tell me if I'm wrong, Michelle, if you're not passionate about what you're doing, you might just as well give it up, go get a 9-to-5 job or something else that pays bills, and just settle back and take whatever life throws at you.
I would agree. If you're not passionate about what you're doing, period,
Yeah.
go do what you are. I've talked to, long story short, I talked to a woman. I was telling her about investing and all the opportunities and money you can make and how it's wonderful, it's learning, you can be creative. And she's like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to worry about that. I just want to do this job that I do. It's very simple. I get a paycheck. I don't want to do that. I'm like, and I enjoy it. I'm like, then do that.
Yeah.
Then do that.
That's comfortable, it's security,
It
and that's
works
okay.
great, and that's okay. Do what you, but I would totally agree. Do what you're passionate about. I love this stuff.
Yeah.
I love this stuff.
I would not trade real estate if somebody said, Dave, I'll give you $1 million if you quit.
Be a nice one.
Yeah, be nice down there. I'd see if I could bargain, take the grant, or take the $1 million and then leverage it and do something, yeah, still in real estate. But no, I would not give up real estate. I just love it. There's just too many options, too many ways to make money. It's too fun doing. I meet so many nice people, friends, people that become friends for life, you know. So, anyway.
Now that being said, if you do, you know, you're not an investor, you want to see what it's like, get basic training, I would recommend Rich Dad.
Yes. Yes.
Start
absolutely.
with that. Start with that.
Yeah.
Get on his website. He has so much stuff, so much information. It's free. RichDadWorld.com, Rich Dad Radio. He interviews amazing people that will change the way you think about what's going on.
Yeah.
Why he calls savers losers. Because if you're saving money in your account, and you're getting less than 1% interest on your account,
You're going in the hole.
you are going in the hole because inflation is going up. So
Yeah.
you're actually losing money on your savings.
Yeah. You are.
Anyway, so he talks all about that.
Yeah, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and another good one is by the same author, Cashflow Quadrant. You know, yeah, there's 4 quadrants there, the E, S, the B, and I. You'll have to read the book to figure out what those are. So, but you want to be on the B and I side, preferably in the I side. And that being said, we need to wind this thing up, shut it down.
Yeah, I do have the Cashflow Game that I bring my board to. Excuse me, it's the first Tuesday of the month, so in September, it'll be September 1st. You can go on meetup.com and search for Cashflow Game, KCIG, and I'll have the location on the screen.
Encourage you to attend that, great.
Yep.
All right, on these games, let's make sure that all the pieces and parts get back to that